Yeah, so what makes an image cinematic? I think from my experience, what really makes an image cinematic comes down to two aspects, as you can see written down here, and those two are design and storytelling. And what do you mean by that? So when I say design and storytelling, I mean an image that tells a story through a frame that's carefully sculpted and designed from the most important aspect like lighting and composition, see, down to the smallest parts like maybe prop choice and maybe the color of this exact horn that's, Tormund is holding. And yeah, but above all that, I think the most important aspect of it is lighting. All right, so this is a random image that I found on the internet. Sorry. As you can see, this image and these images basically the same theme, right? It's a party, right? There's food, there's people in it, there's table and everything else. But what what makes this, these image cinematic and it's not? Well, the first thing that you can notice is probably the set, probably the time period, probably the actors that's in it, the composition and things like that. But the biggest difference of these two images, I think, is while these are designed, carefully designed, this is not. This is just like, a random lighting, a everyday kitchen lighting. Like everything is lit from these lights right here. And it's not cinematic. It's just everyday. It's about uncinematic as it can get because nothing is designed and it's just as it is. While you know, these images are carefully designed. Like, for instance, let's look at this, maybe this one, right? So, if you like put a real candle in front of people like this, it will never produce this, this beautiful rim light that's on their faces, this beautiful lighting here. Why? Because the light source is not from this candle, but I think they put something here, right? Like an LED light that emits light here exactly. So it casts these beautiful lighting. So it's not realistic, right? So if you look at it, it's not naturalistic at all. Yet it still looks believable. So that's what I mean when I say design, you know? An image that is carefully sculpted to tell a story, not necessarily realistic or naturalistic, but with believability, you know? It's a realism with a plus, right? Then it's blurred because the focal point are these people. And here you can see that there's also this cool lighting on Brienne's hair. There's also this, some cool lighting here, cool reflection here. It could be from the window, but you don't care because your brain registers it as the window. It's probably another LED light behind, cold, just to balance, the cold. I mean the warm lighting that's happening around, and also to sculpt the shapes, right? So again, this beautiful rim light on Brienne's hair. It it cannot be from this candle because it for it to be from these candles, the candles needs to be, the size of a bonfire or something. While these rim lights are really strong, probably from, another light rig that's around here, the cast light here. So designed, right? Designed, not designed, uncinematic. So that's about lighting. And then if we look at the composition, like this one, for instance, you can see that there's a beautiful silhouette of three people that's created by focusing this this big shape and then putting everything that's other than this out of focus, right? So you can see even from this level of zoom that it's really clear. Although the value change is, not as dramatic as this one, for instance. Like there's a really clear value. The shape is still clear with this one. So to compare it with this one, again, uncinematic because the composition is all over the place. While this is really thought out, really beautiful composition. But this also, you can see Jon Snow here in the middle, like right, like Tormund and Daenerys here. There's another candle right here. There's probably another LED light that's lighting Jon Snow here, right? And if you notice, the distance between Tormund and Jon Snow is closer than Jon Snow and Daenerys. That's because if you watch Game of Thrones in this exact moment that the people of where's this? I don't know. The Seven Kingdoms. Yeah, this let's just call it the Seven Kingdoms. The people of Seven Kingdoms, or Winterfell even, cheers for Jon Snow as their king, while Daenerys, with all her glory, she feels like, I don't know, jealous or something like that. So you can you can you can tell that by you can tell the divide between these two people by just modifying their distance between each other in the frame. That I think that's a powerful way to tell that kind of story. So this it's a great frame, right? So you can see that she's kind of alienated by everybody in this frame that's closer together and happy, right? Even her body language, she she holds the glass in like a way that's unconfident, while Tormund is like, yeah, here's the glass, man. Here's the horn. I mean, so yeah, that's design and storytelling. What makes an image cinematic? So yeah, let's check out more examples to further nail down the point of composition. Also to explain what I mean by simplicity that I mentioned earlier, but I haven't explained yet. So yeah, this one is from Blade Runner. You can see how beautiful this frame is, right? How simple it is, but yet it's clear, right? So why simplicity? Just to explain why simplicity is important in important in the cinematic look, because a film is a medium that it's not just one image, right? It's a lot of images, series of frames that's played in sequence to create something that tells a story. That's basically it, right? If you reduce it down to the most basic visual parts. So, in order to properly, register that image and story clearly to your brain, the image needs to be strong, simple, and clear, right? So if just imagine if an image or a film contains an image that's super busy with unclear composition and weak graphic shapes, I think it's not gonna be as pleasant of an experience of watching as if compared to if the film is really has a good director of photography, maybe. you know so yes, just that's about simplicity, why it needs to be simple. So yeah, let's analyze this one. Why this one is cool? Yeah, it's obvious. It's pretty obvious just because this beautiful shape right here. And then it creates focus by disturbing it, by not disturbing, I mean by, you know, disrupting it, right? So there's this shape that's really long and beautiful. Then suddenly Ryan Gosling is standing here. So, you know, naturally, your eye would go here and here because there's this beautiful shape and this suddenly disrupted. It's bound to, grab your attention. So that's how this particular image, you know, creates or steals your focus. You know, while the light source is only this, right? Only from this room, it's casting this beautiful light, sculpts Ryan Gosling, and also this, right? Everything about this image is beautiful. Also, this light right here. And if you reduce it down to, say, two values, right? I mean, it's still clear. It's still beautiful. You look at it, right? See? It's still beautiful. It's still clear. It's a well composed image. I don't know the story about this one, so I'm not gonna comment on that. And then this one. I don't know from what film this is, but you can see that this house right here, right? And this people. The size difference tells that perspective, the depth of it. There's two people right here. This guy, he's gotta be the main character because he's the biggest in the frame. And again, the principle of disruption, right? So small, 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 tall. So naturally your eye is gonna go to him, right? Because he's different. Disruption. So that's how you create contrast and focal point and beautiful composition. And also see how beautiful this is grouped together. It's like a music rhythm. So like bam 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 boom bam bam. Right? You see what I mean? So it's grouped together here, 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 and this big one. Imagine if this is not grouped. Say like it's just like this, just everything is the same without disruption, right? I bet it's not gonna be as interesting as this, you know, as in terms of lighting. I think it's just utilize that golden hour natural lighting. See? See how beautiful this image is. All this simple sky. This disruption right here. Okay, on to the next image. This one. Now this one is interesting because it uses lots of aspects to create focal point, clarity, simplicity, and contrast. And by the way, this image is really simple, right? This image is super simple, like clear skies, house in the middle, people standing around, popping up, grass, just that, right? If you reduce it again down to two values, sorry, it's still gonna be clear, right? So if your image works in this stage, at this stage, if your image works, if you add more details to it, it's just gonna be better. Providing that you don't lose everything that's good about this exact state. Right? So let's go back to this image right here. Yeah, so what makes this interesting is because A, the main character is right in the rule of thirds. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this, so I don't need to explain shit to you as if you're dumb. You're smart. Come on, if you watch this, you're smart already. Same with this one. Rule of thirds popping up. Okay, so no, so this one rule of thirds, and you see that the biggest value change of this whole image is this area right here. And by value change, I mean you can see this one and this one, this, sorry, this part right here, and this part right here, this part right here. The value change is there, but it's not as dramatic as this, this maybe, right? So naturally, your eye is gonna be looking at the most value change in an image. That's another way to create focal point is to the analogy is if there's a crowd standing together, right, like this, you're gonna look at the people who are the tallest, but the second thing that you're gonna look at is if this person shouts really loud, like makes really loud noise, you're gonna look at him too. So this is what happens with this one. Like there's a lot of noise right here. And noise, I mean, not in the bad sense, but loudness, right? And that's the value aspect of it. Let's check out if it's reduced to 2 values. See, it still fucking works. Come on, what are you doing? Right? Just look at this. How beautiful this is. It still works. Right? Now let's see the colors because we haven't discussed colors before in this video. Everything in this image, not everything, but mostly is cold green, right? And then suddenly there's this strong red that's happening here. It's gonna grab your attention because if it's 70% warm and it's 30% red, it's gonna be your eyes are gonna go to the red, right? Same if it's, flipped around. If it's red and if it's green, your eyes are gonna be looking at the green because it's the minority. It's the outlier, so to speak. The principle is basically the same as this one. This one is an outlier because same size, different. So it's with this one. Same temperature, warm, right? Also, red is the complementary color of green if you look at the color wheel, right? Let's grab a color wheel there quick. Color wheel. Okay, so if you look at this color wheel, red is exactly the opposite of green. So that also creates a nice contrast between the two because red and green, big difference. Okay, so that's this one, color. That's how you create focus with color also. And not gonna comment on the story again because I don't know. And this one shows the power of strong silhouette, right? So you don't even need to show everything, right? The simpler you can tell a story with an image, the more elegant it becomes. So it's not about adding infinite details to an image, but it's about conveying a story with as little information as you can put in it, right? So this is the power of silhouette. The only clear thing about this image is his eyes and nose, this part of the face. Everything else is obscured by shadow and then silhouette made clear by this light shape right here, right? So you only need to see this and you're gonna associate it with person, right? So you don't even need to show everything. You know it's a silhouette of a gun even without seeing the trigger. You know it's a gun. Come on. So tell a lot with just a little simplicity. Again, the importance of simplicity and silhouette. And we're gonna skip this one, although it's cool how his head is silhouetted by this, but skip this one. And see, this one is also the importance of silhouette. And the silhouette doesn't even need to be complete. See? This why this image is particularly, beautiful in my eyes because how elegant this is. This you know, these two are no longer Christian Bale and Michael Caine in my eyes. It's just two shapes that resembles a person welded together with this big square shadow, beautiful shadow right here, welded again with the ground, and then welded again with the roof. So it's just one beautiful blob of black shape, and then there's a light shape that also shows the perspective with the grid, right? See how beautiful that is? It's connected together shape. Yeah, so that's another way to show, to make it more simple is to merge the shapes. Like this silhouette, the importance of silhouette, depth, everything is here. So yeah, I hope those are clear. My explanation, I hope it's not too convoluted because I tend to overcomplicate things when I say them. If you have questions, you can, shoot me an email or maybe, I don't know, contact me through Facebook or Twitter, something like that. Right? So see how beautiful this is, right? So that's what aspects can make your image cinematic. Just to recap is, right, just to recap real quick. I'm sorry. Okay. Design, reality with a plus, so realistic, but you still control everything. Hence, believable. I cannot even spell believable. Come on. Design, storytelling, and simplicity. How it relates together is the design is informed by the story. So, whatever choice you choose at this stage is going to be informed with this. And it's going to go through this filter of simplicity. Is it too complicated? Then reduce it, right? Reduce it down to the, you know, say 1,000 meaning with just one word, like, so to speak. That kind of business. So, storytelling informs design, and design goes through this filter of simplicity. I think, from my experience, that what makes an image really cinematic. Oh fuck! Cannot even spell this. Sorry, guys. Cinematic, right? Yeah. So that, and we just glazed over composition real quick with those samples, and we're not even talking about composition yet. And composition also plays a big part in making your image cinematic, but I think that's pretty basic, just the basic rule of thirds, centered composition and things like that. It's pretty basic. I think I don't even need to explain this anymore to you guys because I think you already know, but I think the most important no. The more important thing is to realize that it's not just about composition, it's about a lot of aspects. So, okay, all that aside, let's move on to a more concrete example, so to speak. Yeah, so you guys might have seen this image somewhere. This is an image I did like, I don't know, 1, 2 months ago. It's just inspired by I played too much Mafia 3 and I felt like I want to do something related to swamps. So yeah, I think this image is, if you define cinematic, quote unquote, I think it falls down to the cinematic category because I don't know, I like this image. Like it. I see many things that can be improved, but I think this is cinematic. Right. So then let's move on to the blend file. And as you can see here, I got this little silhouette. Yeah, so let's analyze this. Right. So the frame, the composition is a centered composition because I think it's really effective to show a focal point without trying too hard to put this here or here. It's iconic, it's elegant because, I want this house, this manor, to be, sort of like an not religious, not holy, but just something that's, I don't know, above just like normal house. So let's say it like, let's call it divine, right? I want it to feel like that, to feel mystical, to feel like as if this house is more than just a physical, you know, existence, being or entity, whatever you want to call it. And this person right here is also in the center. Just I because I want to show it like effectively because he's so small, right? So that's my thought when I do this composition. Also, this tree is here to block your eyes from wandering off the frame. Also, this tree here is the same. And then this back trees right here is to, create a beautiful silhouette of the house itself, the roof. So that's composition. I want to this house to feel divine, not holy, like just special. I don't know the words. I'm not a native English speaker. You know what I mean. All right. So let's move on to lighting. Maybe we switch to this viewport. It's gonna be fucking heavy as fuck, but I don't know. Just do it. Okay, let's wait for a second. Anyway, thanks for supporting me. Right? If you see this, it means you're watching my Patreon, and I thank you for that. Yeah, so let's go to lighting. If you look at this lighting, you can see that there's a shift. So that falls to hitting this image to feel wet. I want to feel humid and overcast just to, I want the lighting to support the story. Like, if this is a horror house and the language, no, I mean, not language, the sun is clear, the clear skies, it's gonna be like a dissonance between the two. Not to say you can't do that, but that's not what I want with this image. That's not the story. So, my decision of how soft the light is gonna be is affected by the story. Again, storytelling and design, right? Connected, you know, one informs the other. And so yeah, this soft lighting. And then because I don't want the light to spill everywhere, I want the light just to be concentrated on this middle part. I did some of these, these blue planes. I call them blockers. So let's see the frame with it. I'm turning off the blocker now. Yeah, so this is without the blocker. You can see that light spills everywhere. It's so ugly. I want to kill myself. Just kidding. Yeah, right. So yeah, it's not as good, in my opinion, not as good as the version with the blockers because again, it spills everywhere. It's really ugly. It's undirected, unprofessional because you don't know where to go, right? This is like this tree is not a big part of the story. It doesn't need to be this clear. This guy is also not a big part of the story. It doesn't need to be this clear. Everything that needs to be clear is in this area, concentrated here. So, hence the blockers. Right. All right. Blockers. With blockers on, you see, it's more controlled. It's dark. Because just because it's dark, this area right here, this area receives more attention because it's the only light area. You see what I mean, right? Design. So in real world, if you see like a real photo swamp, this might be more realistic because the light is behaving as if it's just like a normal swamp. But that isn't enough. Like I said earlier, realistic is not enough. You gotta plus it, right? In order to be more interesting, to be cinematic, because cinema is about the effort to present a version of reality that's that's stylized, or so to speak, that's more, again, I will never be tired of repeating this point, but storytelling, right? So it's not a representation one on one on reality, but it's reality through the lens of a good cinematographer, right? So that's the reason behind these blockers. Not realistic, but believable. All right. So that's it. That's the decision between above it. Sorry if I repeat my points a lot, but I just, I think it's important and needs to be repeated. So I repeat it a lot, right? So again, then if we move to the smaller parts, you can see that this guy is wearing a trench coat, maybe. There's a slight weathering down the bottom here that's related to the production design. There's a candle, maybe something occult, is going on, something with a witch. So yeah, that's not as important as lighting and such, but it's about the story, right? It's about, again, down to smallest aspects like props. So yeah, that's basically it. That's basically this image. Right, let's go to Photoshop and see when I press render and then I add more to it. I add more atmosphere just to separate these trees from this. All right, let's check two values. It's still clear, right? Like I said, if your image works at this stage, it's gonna work at every stage. See? So those are the things that I think makes this image cinematic, and I hope this is useful to you, and I think I'll see you in the next video.